Hey, what's up? I'm Dan. Welcome to episode 4 of Pistons of Fury Mustang Interior Rebuild. In this episode, we're going to take a little look at the paint that I did last time. That was the 2K primer that we sprayed on the doors and the dash, and look at how I messed that up and do a little bit of sanding, and then try to figure out how we can make that better. Yeah, we're going to get into that. I have some stuff we're going to try. Unfortunately, I can't do any more painting right now because it's been raining here, so the humidity is really high. I don't want to get bad results again, so I'm going to wait until the weekend when it's a little drier, and we'll do the painting then. But here, we got a bunch of stuff to do, so let's just get started. Alright, so taking a look at one of my doors, this is the driver's side door. You can see here, these are what I believe to be leftover grease, 50 years of gunk, something along those lines. I cleaned all of this multiple times, so I'm not sure what happened there. The one thing I did not do is use a specialty paint wax and grease remover. I was relying on chemicals like acetone and a few other kind of common cleaning materials like simple green soap, that kind of thing. Obviously, that is not good enough when it comes to this stuff. A friend of mine told me that basically, you know, with this level of high quality paint, it's really picky about the surface that you're applying it to, even the primer. So lesson learned there. I picked up some new stuff that we're going to use when we paint this again. I think I mentioned last time, one of the things that that's cool about these doors is, I don't know if you, yeah, I guess you can kind of see it. They have this grain that's just part of the metal. I guess it's part of the press when they form the panels way back in the factory. But it's really cool. It's really nice. It has a good texture when you run your hand across it. And the one thing that happens when you paint it, especially with a high fill primer, it starts to fill in that texture. So I'm going to stop painting the doors right now until I know I have this figured out. And I'm actually going to move over to the dash. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically in this episode, I'm just going to come through here and we're going to sand the dash. We're going to sand that down to a nice finish. Then we're going to go back and do some real wax and grease remover. I'll show you the stuff that I'm using and we'll see if that makes a difference. Alright, I'm gonna go get ready. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna get started sanding. Like I said, I'm gonna focus on the dash. This is all smooth. I'm not gonna ruin any grain or anything on the dash, so I want to make sure I get that right before moving back to the doors. I've got some Hunter grit, which I'm just going to use to kind of take down the surface, hopefully get it back to where it was before I painted it, which was nice and smooth. Once I do that, I'm probably going to take a pass at like 150 and then probably like a 400. I am going to wear a respirator, so less talking here, more working. Okay, so now that I got all that cleaned up, and I can't really paint today because of the humidity, I think what I'm going to do next is I actually got all the parts from my welder and fixed that. That was in a separate episode. You can check that out if you want to know how to do it. Totally fixed my issue is being you know, kind of sporadic or intermittent wire feed through that MIG feed welder. Replaced the whole liner, took care of it. Amazing, so I'm really happy about that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take some of this plastic off, and we're going to get back here and maybe create some patches for those floor things. The holes in the floor, not the floor things, they're holes. And try to get them patched up so I can call the sound deadening done. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so part of the rust I discovered was actually in this floor piece right here. Now this is double or even triple layer sheet metal. I look from the bottom. This is actually a support, an area of support right in here for the rear leaf spring, the front eye of the rear leaf spring. So I need to cut maybe just a rectangle through here to get some of this surface rust out of here so I can treat the rust under that, and then I'll just weld in a little patch panel here on top of that once I've treated the rust so it won't rust anymore. And after that, these two new rust areas I found are actually going to have to be taken care of from the outside, from the wheel well. So I'm probably going to switch and pull the wheel off on the rear and go under there and see what I can do from the underside. But first I'm going to take care of this one. Alright, so making good progress getting some of this rust out of here. I kind of found the boundary where it crosses over into being an actual hole that goes to the ground. So that's kind of where I'm cutting this. I'm going to trim some of these pieces off, and it doesn't look like I'm dealing with any like super major structural rust here, so I'm going to get this as flat as I can and just cut a nice patch to go over this nice thick sheet metal, and just sand this up, make sure the surfaces are clean, and come in here and weld this up. Okay, so now what we're doing next, now that we've taken care of that little patch inside the car, is I'm going to seam seal that real quick, and then we're going to come back and take off the rear wheel so we can get to that wheel housing and do another little patch on the inside of that exterior wheel housing and make sure we're all watertight on the driver's side of the car. And then when we do that, we're going to go over to the passenger side and do that one. I want to try to get all those holes plugged up today so I can finish the sound deadening, call it done, and then hopefully the weather will cooperate for the next episode where we can finish up the paint. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so for seam sealing, I'm just using this Eastwood brushable seam sealer. It's pretty good. It smells really bad. You should probably do it in a ventilated area. I say that as I do it inside of a very non-ventilated area. I'm going to try to keep it pretty quick though. Just using a little wooden popsicle stick, I guess for lack of a better term. And I'll get this sealed up and then we'll move outside. Alright, so I don't know if, yeah, I guess you can see that. Got it all welded up. Thought I had the camera on when I was welding. I guess I did not, so sorry about that. Just a little tiny patch. Got the metal pretty clean, so it actually welded up pretty nicely. I'm just going to go back over that with some primer now, and then I'm going to do a bunch of seam sealing down here, because there's all these little places where the body gets pressed to the frame and other pieces of sheet metal where water can get in. So I'm going to seal all that, and then I'll see if I have time to go to the other side. Alright. Alright, one side done. Painted, seam sealed, welded, patched. Saw some other spots under here I'm going to have to take care of it at a different time, but that's a separate project. I'm going to try to do the other side. I don't have a whole lot of room, just because of the way I have the car situated in the garage, so we'll see how much of that I film. Alright, so what I think I'm going to have to do is, I was originally going to use that wheelhouse patch panel that I have for right here, but I think I'm just going to take some paper and try to create a template that kind of makes this contour. The problem is I've got this area here which I didn't anticipate having to patch, So that's going to be kind of the issue. So it's not going to allow me to use that wheelhouse template. I think I'm just going to have to make this out of a little bit thinner gauge sheet metal. So I'm going to grab some paper, try to make this template here, and also got to get it to kind of fold under here to make up some of this, because this little bit of floor was gone, so that's going to be a problem too. So yeah, I'm going to do that and see what we can come up with. I think that's pretty good. Kind of looks like a state. I don't know which state, like Nebraska, York, something like that. Only thing I didn't capture was coming in, but maybe, I think maybe if I get it tacked into place, I can massage that a little bit and get it to come in to meet this little ledge here, and just not have to do anything else with that. So, should be fun to cut. Alright, so, yeah, it goes without saying, thicker sheet metal is a lot easier to cut, especially with this specific, not appropriate means that I'm using right now. I got that close enough, it even shook the workbench and knocked the camera out of focus, so that was awesome. Yeah, I'm going to try to trim up the rest of these, just grinding them down or by hand to get that perfect fit, and then we'll go check the fit on the car. That is pretty close. Well, got to figure out what I'm doing with the back side, but that's pretty much it. Welded in pretty well. I cleaned it up pretty well, so it was not bad. Yeah, so that's it from the outside. I'm gonna have to go on the inside now and try to figure out what to do with that little gap I have behind there. I'm probably gonna have to grind some more, make a little bit of a patch panel, and then join them up. But this should be good. Guess I'll spray paint it, do the seam sealer, and that should be good. Alright, so that is a wrap for episode, I don't even know what episode we're on. Episode 4, I guess? Yeah, episode 4 we'll call it. Got a lot done this episode. It was a long weekend for me. Got both interior patch panels done, or wheelhouse patch panels done. That was huge because if you're anything like me and you've been into these kind of projects before, you know that you hit something like that, and that's the kind of thing that has potential to really hold you up for weeks or months or whatever and let your car just sit. It's like, oh, I don't want to get out the welder, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But for me to get through that, that was pretty big. It's going to allow me to help finish the interior. I can get all that sound deadening done. I'll probably do that off camera because I think I've already done like 2 episodes. It's just sound deadening stuff. I'm so done with that stuff. So I'm going to get that done. Next episode, we are painting the interior for real. I got all the right stuff. We have all the right equipment. We're going to do it. Next weekend's supposed to be sunny, not rainy. It's going to be good. We're going to get it done. So next weekend is paint. Got some other stuff I had planned to do, but I just want to get that painted so we can move on. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. I got plenty more to come. We got lots to do on this car, lots to do on my other car, which I actually just started, and another playlist. So go check that out. Yeah, if you like it, shoot me some feedback. I'd love to hear comments, emails, whatever. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.